Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Stephen Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Stephen Larson. Once again, huge thanks and shout out to everybody who joined us for the Full Gear watch along on Saturday. The awesome Church of Lovely Friendos, Sully, Kayla, Alex, and of course, the Enforcer. We're all in attendance. None of them could fill the shoes of Larson, who was having a great time at Disneyland, though. So I'm glad you got back safe. In one sentence, can you summarize your Disney experience before we hop into this Full Gear review?
Ooh, wow, one sentence. That's tough.
There you go. 1 sentence.
No, hold on.
Okay.
I walked 38 miles.
Wow. Lots of walking. I was paying attention to your social media. A lot of pictures of you in front of like the Millennium Falcon and various Disney things to prove that
Correct.
you did in fact go. So
I wasn't just laying in my bed back here. No, and I want to thank Kayla. I want to thank Alex. I want to thank Sully, and of course Enforcer and you, Steve, holding things down while I was walking 38 miles, having a good time with the family. Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
And I also want to thank everybody for. Man, my heart really does. It's filled with love for our community because I've seen out there other times content creators take a little bit of time to review something. They will get some static. They'll get some backlash. And I noticed that with the exception of one comment on YouTube, which there was a backlash against that. Everybody's been very supportive. Everybody who pays attention here understands that you had booked this trip and it's a Disneyland trip. So it's not like you can just book it and then be like, oh, no, we'll just move the weekends. There's a lot of logistics that go into it.
Yes.
And so many people were very supportive and saying, hey, Larson, go enjoy yourself. Can't wait to hear your thoughts when you get back. We got no backlash for waiting, not doing this immediately after the show like we usually do. Everybody in our community really cool about that. Just goes to show this right here is the best community in the wrestling internet
1000%.
world. So appreciated that people, understood that, hey, we're human beings. Obviously, you didn't intend to schedule this. AEW said it was going to be the previous weekend. You said, okay, cool. What a great time to take a vacation. That'll be in the books. And then they said, and they booked it the following weekend. It's like, hey, sorry, Tony. You're not going to get Going In Raw's thoughts on your fancy show until
not right away. No,
a couple days later.
Yeah, a couple days later. Just a couple days. Days. I watched it as quickly as I could. Unfortunately, Bleacher Report didn't get the VOD up till like late yesterday.
Yeah, that was a debacle.
Yeah, and then trying to watch it on the plane was a disaster. So I tried my best to watch it as quickly as I could. We got started a little bit late because I had to catch up. So apologies for that, everybody. But I've watched it. We've watched it. We're ready to go.
Mm-hmm. So, let's dive right into that. Of course, Full Gear saw the crowning of the fourth and new AEW World Champion, Hangman Page. We all sort of saw it coming, but the magnitude of the moment, how it was, they had that great video entrance, the match itself, so many different references to the history of Kenny Omega and Hangman Page and the history of Kenny Omega in general, led to this moment that even if I actually am totally fine understanding, hey, a new era is here. A moment is happening. Let's all soak in it. And it doesn't matter if you know that it's going to happen. The 2-year journey, the 2 to 3 year journey that we've been on to get to this moment was executed nearly perfectly in my eyes. And I was very emotional when he actually won, he tossed aside the beer and just hugged the Dark Order, and they lifted him up. The crowd response, the entirety of the moment goes down in wrestling history as a massive one for AEW. Yeah. What were you thinking when you saw this?
Oh, totally. I mean, there were a lot of references sprinkled into their relationship, Kenny's wrestling career. But even in the structure of the bout, where at times, possibly, when Page prior was doubting himself, he might have folded, And there are several instances where he took a move from Kenny back up, or he's defiant while eating shots, and to think the Hangman of old wouldn't have done that, and to see him not just say, hey, I'm more confident I've ever been, but to see it play out in the ring where he's met with that adversity, fights back from it, was awesome. I thought the Young Bucks coming out at the end, I didn't get it. I heard about their exchange with Paige on Rampage, didn't get to see it yet, but to see, them out there ringside kind of resigning themselves to what was about to happen and coming to terms with it as it was happening was well done. I didn't think they overshadowed the end at all. Dark Order coming out, and that bit where Paige smacks the beer out of Riddle's hand, he offers it and hugs Dark Order instead. That was great stuff. It's all about, the whole story was about a man with high expectations at the creation of AEW, not meeting those expectations and doubting himself because of it. And to see that story come full circle, in a lot of ways, I feel like it's a very relatable story, and it was for me, and that's probably why I connected with it so much. And to see it come full circle with him reaching the top of the mountain, being champion, is awesome to see. Awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was a spectacular moment. I think it's one of those defining moments. I'll be honest with you, I really love, especially the run lately that AEW's been on with keeping it to a Big Four pay-per-view. I really hope they stick to it, because you do get the biggest moments. And granted, we're going to get Hangman's first match, first defense against Bryan Danielson. That'll probably happen, I would imagine, on the first TBS episode of Dynamite to crown that.
That would make sense.
That's a big deal. It's going to be, hey, right now, I'll tell you, it's going to be Danielson's first loss, which is a big deal.
Exactly.
I thought there were a couple surprises. I really loved that there was, beyond the era-defining moment of Hangman winning, there were legitimately unpredictable outcomes to many of these matches. Speaking of which, congratulations to Queen of the Ring, Alex, for procuring the AEW predictions title here at Going In Raw. So the Forbidden Door is fully open. That just guarantees she's going to have to defend it come December, whatever thing we do.
Exactly.
So I did, for example, I really didn't know how Punk Kingston was going to go down, but that was it. If you take the history of Hangman winning the title out of it, that Punk Kingston match was probably my match of the night for how just physical and how much pure attitude was in that match. Yeah. That attitude, that match was all attitude, and it was fierce and ugly, and I loved and it was only 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I loved every moment of it. I guess one of the biggest surprises, of course, was Miro losing to Bryan Danielson. I had low confidence points on this.
I did too.
Because I really could see it going either way. But still, the fact that Danielson won, I don't know why, but it just sort of surprised me. I was like, man. And I love the way they did it with the top rope DDT. Mm-hmm. Dude, I know you're on board with me. I love when wrestling matches don't follow your typical match finish. Yeah. And in this case, Miro's Achilles heel is his neck. And he talks and he curses God's name. He curses God for giving him a busted neck. And that's what Bryan Danielson, hey, by the way, JR had a hard time with it too, with the Daniel Bryan stuff. That's what Danielson took advantage of, and that move makes sense to put Miro down.
Yeah, and I mean, it also feeds into what Bryan Danielson has been doing of late, which is winning matches with a variety of moves.
Yeah,
it's not like D plus, yes lock. It's guillotine at Full Gear. I think he won with a heel hook once. He won the Tequila Sunrise, his match just before Full Gear. He's winning with a variety of moves,
Yeah.
And Miro's got this overarching story of now he's got to overcome his Achilles heel, essentially the weakness that his maker gave him. And I'm interested to see how he manages to overcome that, because right now I don't know what route they're going to take with that, but it's got to happen at some point.
It's a big old target. Old target, and I can't wait to see how devastated he's going to be if he does a video promo on Dynamite. He might go away for a while, though. I don't know.
Yeah, he could. Actually, the most surprising outcome to me was Christian and Jurassic Express beating Superkliq.
Yeah, we all had a ton of confidence on this, except for Alex. Alex had high confidence on Brian, and she had low confidence on the Superkliq match. You, me, the Enforcer, I think even Kayla, we all thought this was a lock.
Well, I thought so too, because if I remember correctly, Christian and Jurassic Express stood tall. Like the math was there.
I did not see the story being Jungle Boy saying, "Okay, Father, I will kill this human being. Thank you for the chair." I mean, the whole thing was Christian saying, "Here, son, take this chair and put this man out of his misery." And Jungle Boy at first being like, "That's too much violence for me, Dad." And then in the end, "Dad, I'm a man now. I'm ready to do it."
Asking for the chair.
Yeah.
I know.
Please,
I know.
May I murder this human being, please? That was nuts. Yeah,
I was not expecting that.
You have to appreciate, though, that one thing about Jungle Boy that a lot of people seem to be getting, including myself first and foremost, this dude doesn't need to have promo skills. He is Tony Khan was right. The music, just the look on his face. He's a great looking dude. Everybody loved his dad. Rest in peace. And he has a great look. He just seems like a real pure, human, and people just respond to that. And so it made it extra funny that it was, "Please, sir, let me kill," because the concerto, that's a fucked up move. That is such a messed up move to do to a person.
In kayfabe, you're concussing somebody,
Yeah. But my point was, the point was to get Jungle Boy over. Like, we had probably, honestly, if it wasn't for the finish, my wrestling match of the night would have been MJF versus Darby Allin. You
didn't like the finish of that?
Oh, I hate it. I can't. The diamond ring thing is so played out. I can't stand it. I get the whole hit me with the skateboard thing, and then I get it, but I was like, I feel like they could have milked it in a different way instead of just resorting to the diamond ring thing.
I liked how, we get to it more later on, but how it wasn't just like technical match. All right, diamond ring out of nowhere. Like, it built to that. Like, that long before that, MJF was cutting corners, biting fingers, going after eyes, grabbing tights. It was at a certain point he realized, all right, I'm not gonna be able to beat Darby fair and square. I got to start cutting corners. It built to that point. So if it was a situation where it was out of nowhere, he just busted out the ring, hit him, I might agree with you. But since they built to it, I really appreciate it. Ultimately, it's MJF realizing fair and square, I can't beat Darby, so I have to cut a corner. I have to.
Yeah, I know. It's the still using the ring thing. I'm done with it. Like, I don't know. I was like, is there a cleverer way that they could have gone that route? And I feel like the theme of I'm gonna break you mentally wasn't explored enough. And I thought that beyond that, like 99% of it, I'm praising the hell out of that match, praising the hell out of it. Which wasn't, I'm not huge on the ring anymore. Used to be a big fan of the ring, but it's just too much. But that's just me. I'm glad everybody else seemed to love that shit, and that's totally great. But yeah, we could just dive into it. I mean, that's the match that kicked off. I mean, there was the kickoff match, which saw the faces go over the heels. It was Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa versus Nyla Rose and Jamie Hayter.
Yeah, it was a fun match too.
Yeah, no, it was a fun enough match. What was the I forget what the finish of that was.
Nyla was going for a beast bomb, and Shida reversed that into a roll to get the win. I was actually kind of surprised that opponents for the next round match in the TBS tournament were involved in the finish. I was thinking that Shida was going to pin Hayter to get the win. That way, they can preserve some sort of drama for the Shida Nyla Rose match. But it's obvious now that Nyla Rose is going to win.
Yeah, could be. I have no read on that, to be honest with you, on the TBS title thing. I mean, I think they've been doing a hell of a job with it, which is why I'm thinking that. Like, I'm like, I don't know, man. Jade Cargill's out there. So, you're talking about specifically that match, the Sheeta versus
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're probably right about that.
I just thought they wouldn't telegraph the finish of that match maybe so directly.
Yeah. Kicked off with MJF versus Darby Allin. MJF, he had the entrance bathrobe, which looked very plush. It was super plush and so lavender.
It reminded me between the color choice and the tassels on it of that Macho Man shirt I had.
I think that's what the reference was. Yeah.
I thought so too.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting just how many I mean, obviously there was, I think, 3 Eddie callbacks across matches, one including a finish. But yeah, no, it totally had the tassels and everything. It was totally Macho Man style. So it starts with tons of mat-based stuff. Of course, MJF starting very first thing in the match, the headlock takeovers.
Yes.
Trying to immediately, because he referenced that before, saying, I'm going to beat you with a headlock takeover. He eventually did actually beat him technically with a headlock takeover, in addition to the ring. They go to the outside. There's just a brutal suicide dive from Darby. I love when Darby hits a suicide dive that isn't against the railings, because he knows that he could just go as fast as he possibly can. And so that was just a brutal suicide dive, followed by an attempt at a coffin drop. He hits the apron instead. That looked rough. MJF gets some bites in on Darby's face. He tries a tombstone pile driver from the top. Bad move. Darby counters that into a stunner from the top. There's a bit where MJF hits this nasty pop-up powerbomb onto his own knee. That was awesome. And that sort of starts the road to MJF's knees coming into play. At one point, MJF is biting on his fingers. Darby goes for a code red, but MJF counters that into like an Alabama slam, basically. MJF puts him in a scorpion deathlock. Darby counters that, tries for the figure 4. MJF counters that. Darby's able to sink it in, though, but MJF flips it. He hits a tombstone on the apron, but he sells the crap out of his knees, because obviously that's what you're landing on as much. And Darby's is basically knocked out because of the tombstone to his head. But MJF is dying from the knees. They do the bit where they're rolling around doing the inside cradle thing. They trade some side headlock takeovers. Darby hits a code red for 2. He hits a coffin drop to MJF on the floor. And then goes to the inside for another coffin drop. But that's when MJF gets his knees up. But that coffin drop, just the knees just absorbed the entire impact for that.
He's selling knees,
The chairman, Sean Spears, and Wardlow come down. Sting takes the bat to both of them. A series of roll-ups get a bunch of 2s. MJF then gives Darby the skateboard, says, come on, use it. And Darby's about to. He acts like he's going to. He says, nope, not going to do it. He gives it to the ref, says, get that thing out of there. As he does that, MJF reaches into his trunks, uses the ring on Darby, side headlock takeover, gets the win for MJF.
Yep. I thought the end with MJF handing Darby the skateboard, it referenced, hey, I'll break you mentally, because at that point Darby's like, no, not going to happen. I'm not going to, as much as he may have wanted to, deck MJF with a skateboard, out of spite. Instead, try to win the match. That was great.
I thought that this is the best wrestling that I've seen from either of these guys, probably ever at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it really did solidify that in ring, these guys are absolutely outstanding.
Are top notch. Totally.
Yeah. After that, we had a quick shot of Team Taz scouting. They're in the booth. That was never really played out. I mean, that they did the thing on Rampage.
No, they did the thing in the pre-show, in the kickoff show, the buy-in, where they had a Dante Martin interview.
Oh yeah, because they had tried to recruit him on Rampage.
Yeah, a bunch of people are trying to recruit him.
All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word in from our sponsor, Decked. So Larson.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard the story. You've got a truck-owning friendo who goes to check out a football game or something at a buddy's house and completely forgets about all the stuff they left in the bed of their truck. And then when they go back to their truck, they discovered that while they were at their friend's house, the heavens had opened up and dropped all sorts of rain or snow or whatever and completely ruined everything they left in their truck bed.
Yeah, I've heard stories like that. Next time I hear a story like that, I'm going to tell that friendo about Decked. The Decked drawer system is weatherproof, which means it keeps your stuff safe from rain, ice, and snow. Also, the Decked drawer system makes organizing and accessing everything in your truck bed so much easier.
Yeah, and each of Deck's 2 full bed-length drawers can carry up to 200 pounds of whatever you want to put in them. And the drawers roll out about waist high, giving you easy access to your tools and gear. Plus, Decked is 100% made in the USA and backed by a lifetime no-hassle warranty and offers second-to-none customer service.
Getting decked is the best thing friendos out there could do for their truck, especially this time of year. So protect your stuff. Get your decked drawer system at decked.com/raw and get free shipping. That's decked.com/raw for free shipping on your decked drawer system. Decked.com/raw. After that, we had FTR versus Lucha Brothers. I kind of skipped through the intros because I was trying to watch the matches get to the matches as quickly as I could. I heard Lucha Brothers' entrance was great. Penta's ring gear. Oh my God.
It was outstanding.
Incredible.
So the entrance for the Lucha Brothers was this. A bunch of soldiers come out wearing lucha masks, right? And then like you hear bombs dropping. Bunch of pyro goes off and they're all freaked out. They're getting hit by the bombs. And then out comes General Penta and I guess Colonel Phoenix and their side man Alex. And so we were kind of confused as to, I guess they're the invading army and the soldier guys were like their enemies, or maybe their soldier guys were their men and they were coming to rescue them. Not entirely sure exactly what it was, but it was pretty awesome. I thought it made Saving Private Ryan look like amateur hour. It was great.
High praise.
Yeah. The gear was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was absolutely
Penta's gear was amazing.
It really was. I've never seen iridescence camouflage.
Oh, it was
sort
so
of
good.
defeats the purpose of camouflage, but
yeah.
I don't think they were trying to really
as trim. It really works. It really works. This match was a lot of fun. And we mentioned earlier Eddie references. There's Eddie references in this match. I believe it was Dax Harwood going for Three Amigos. He doesn't hit it. Instead, Penta does. In the end, though, so Dax and Penta, I believe, are the legal men in the match. Somehow Dax ends up on the outside of the ring, and they try to do this twin magic thing. So Cash puts on the Super Rana's mask, rolls in the ring. I mean, like he has a tattoo on his back. Dax doesn't have that. There's like 1,000 different ways this isn't going to fly. You know, it's just not believable. Anyways, he gets in the ring. And eventually he ends up beating the Lucha Brothers finish. So they get the win. However, and they pull his mask off. So like there's video evidence right there that he wasn't the legal man getting pinned in the match.
I'm assuming this is just to set up. Maybe he was on the horn with AAA saying, "Hey, you can't job our champions out clean," or something.
Could be.
This was the stupid. This actually was on the road to being my match of the night.
Yeah.
Like if the finish was killer, because I love the wrestling of the Lucha Brothers and FTR. Like this was so much damn fun. That bit where the Lucha Brothers set up for their finish on Dax. But Phoenix sees Cash running behind Penta and jumps off of Dax and Penta to crossbody Cash. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that was good.
And the match was filled with stuff like that. That's just the Lucha Brothers continuing every match. They're innovating. And FTR, some of the best tag team wrestlers on the planet, you know, going along with it. And then you get this goofy ass, like they go to the outside, they both put their frog masks on, the wrong guy gets back in, they hit their finish, and it's just sort of there. So, I mean, I don't know. It sort of had AAA written all over it. Triple Mania Regius, maybe they'll have a full-on, like, actual finish.
It could be.
I can't wait for that match. It's going to be crazy good.
It is going to be good. This was good.
Oh, no, the meat, again, the meat of this match was excellent. Wasn't a fan of the finish.
No, and this is it definitely feels like it's a finish to motivate a third bout.
Yeah.
After that, we had Bryan Danielson versus Miro to win. This is the finals eliminator tournament. You win, you get a title shot against the AEW champion. Really good match. Strong performance from Miro. He was basically destroying Bryan Danielson for 75% of this bout.
Yeah, and he was terrifying doing it. Again, like I said, shout out to JR, who kept on calling Daniel Bryan. At one point, he just yells out, "Bryan Danielson!"
Yeah. I think at one point, I think it was Shivai just said Daniel and then stopped. And then Excalibur says Bryan Danielson and continues on.
It's not just me, man. It's not just me. Even seasoned veterans are having a hard time with it. Daniel Bryan. It just rolls off the tongue. It's been years and years. We call him Daniel Bryan. It just rolls off the tongue. Bryan Danielson. You have to go backwards.
American Dragon. Just call him American Dragon.
Miro's work, his character work, when he kept on just he was screaming at God. Oh, and you feel for the guy, but then he does shit like Bryan like hits him with some chops, and Miro just says, "Come on!" And then he lifts his arm, "Here, kick me here," and it does nothing. And then he chops Bryan, and Bryan just collapses.
Great.
Oh man, it's like Miro's just terrifying. Then they go up to the top, and they're gonna do something crazy, and Bryan's able to get him into a top rope DDT. That's the end of the match for Miro. I loved it because it makes sense. It was unexpected, but Bryan was able to outsmart him. And he did the Danielson stomps to the neck. Mm-hmm. If you could just get a high impact move to the neck, you're done.
What was great is he hit that super tornado DDT basically, and then locked on a guillotine, which puts more torque on the neck, and Miro's out.
Out. And it was as if it didn't even matter. He was like, "Crap, I did this. I have to put him in this." But the ref was like, "No, he's done." Like that top rope DDT. Yeah. The idea is, I think that did it. But you're trying to kill a monster. Get him in that guillotine and see if. I mean, he might not be done. You don't know
until the bell rings. You stay on the offense. You know.
Yeah.
Totally. It was a really fun bout, and even though Miro lost, he looked like a dominant force out there. This macro story he's got where he's 95% dominant except for the 5%, what do you say, a body made of granite and a neck made of sand.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where this goes. How is he going to overcome that Achilles heel, so to say?
Nobody. That's what I love, man, is that nobody is. I don't know if they really did this with Archer necessarily, although it'd be interesting if they tried. But do you see, like, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. There's none of this like, oh, this monster guy, this one-dimensional monster guy. Miro is anything but one-dimensional.
Yes.
He's a monster who's got a weird religious thing and a fucked up neck. And if you can exploit that stuff, then you got a shot. But good luck with that because he's terrifying otherwise.
But depending on your own individual power ranking.
Right, yeah.
As we saw with Fuego, he did exploit that. Still came short twice.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But you look at him. You look at even going to the fast forward a little bit to the Eddie Punk match. That match was 10 minutes long. Within 5, Eddie was gassed. That's the story. That's what Punk is saying. And then Bryan Danielson in an interview. I didn't even see if this was in the scrum or if this was an interview. He said, "Yeah, I was saying the same things about Eddie." He says, Eddie, he didn't literally name Shaq, but he basically made the analogy. He says, Eddie is so naturally gifted that if he actually put work into it, it'd be, this is the media scrum. Thank you, everybody. He would be terrifying.
Well, he referenced that before their tournament match.
Yeah.
He was like, the difference between me and you, Eddie, is that I put in the work. You don't work hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't work hard outside the ring. That's what he said to him. Set up their bout.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I mean, my main point is I love and I hope that would be the idea in AEW is that when people come in, it's like, okay, listen, you're going to have your strengths, but in order to tell these stories, especially the way we like to tell them in the ring, figure out what your in-ring weaknesses are and your vulnerabilities, because that just makes you more interesting.
Yep. Yeah. Totally. After that, we had Falls Count Anywhere bout Superkliq versus Christian Cage and Jurassic Express. I mean, it's difficult to encapsulate what happened this bout because there's crazy stuff happening everywhere. I don't know why Adam Cole insists on taking all the rough spots in his matches because we've seen that in War Games matches, in his match against Aleister Black in NXT.
Yeah,
it's like if he picks up a crazy spot that looks like it really hurts. He wants to do it.
Yeah. Couple small notes here, of course. What did you think of the Jacksons' spray on pink Fu Manchus?
Oh, off the charts. Matched the gear. Loved it. They had some of the spray and color in their hair too.
That gear was not color safe.
It wasn't.
It was blowing my TV up. It was like burning shit into my TV.
Oh, so good.
And they come out and it looks like they had just drank too much like pink Kool-Aid or something.
Yeah.
It looks so stupid. And I watched BTE and it shows them applying it. And all Nick did was he took a bunch of like tape, like electrician's tape, and like put it like blocked out where he didn't want it. And it was, but it was so loosely sticking on there. That's why it was such a mess. And then he just sprayed that shit on. It was so bad. And I think that was the point. Like they're bad guys. They're going to do that aspect of it half-assed. And then, of course, the Falls Count Anywhere, not a street fight. And yet the good guys came out wearing street fight apparel, jeans.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a faux pas, in my opinion. Not shocked that it was Christian spearheading this effort.
To be fair to them, what really is the difference between a street fight and Falls Count Anywhere?
Actually, the name is everything, though.
There's actually only one real difference. In a street fight, the finish still has to happen in the ring. Whereas Falls Count Anywhere, it doesn't. In a lot of ways, a Falls Count Anywhere seems to be truer to the spirit of a street fight than an actual street fight.
I agree. But if it's a street fight, it's called a street fight, then you wear jeans. Falls Count Anywhere, there is nothing in wrestling lore that says a Falls Count Anywhere is a jeans match.
They're breaking tropes here. All right.
I don't like
expand your horizons.
I like certain tropes to stay the way they are.
No way. Wear jeans whenever you want to.
This was so much fun, though. This was a really, really fun match. It was crazy shit going on. Christian at the age of 47, 48, whatever he is, doing that crossbody off the balcony.
Oh, that was nuts.
Thumbtacks
move right there.
Thumbtacks in Jungle Boy's mouth. He got the kiss, the Adam Cole kiss, and the Superkliq. That was rough. And then we had the Hobby Lobby sponsored knee pads with the tacks on them.
Oh, they somehow bedazzled the knee pads with the thumbtacks on them. Yeah,
pretty ridiculous. They got a BTE trigger with those to Luchasaurus, and then of course Luchasaurus had that absolutely nuts shooting star press off the ramp onto the floor there, where the rest of the Superkliq and I think probably Christian, where I forget who was down there exactly. And then the whole crowd chanting, holy shit. While you look at, they got a great close up on Jungle Boy's reaction.
Great.
Just completely floored.
Him also saying, holy shit. I like, there's a couple of instances in this match where Jungle Boy was showing a bit more personality like that. He was even,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, wowed by something or what have you, you know, and it's little moments like that where we get a sense of who he is.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need 10 minutes on the mic.
You don't need the promos if you have that. And I did think that this match really opened my eyes to that because, yeah, we saw a lot more personality from Jungle Boy in this match. Maybe hanging out with Christian is paying off in that respect. That could be. You put these younger dudes with older dudes, they're going to learn some stuff.
And, of course, I'm assuming the story is still going to be is Christian kind of pushing Jungle Boy more in that direction. And the push and pull within Jungle Boy, whether he's going to go, you know, start employing all the dirty tricks Christian is teaching him or not.
That could be. I don't know. He seemed really like, I mean, obviously he was hesitant at first, but then by the end, it was like, that was a huge fan moment. He's like, well, fuck it.
Yeah.
You know.
But, you know, there's
a breaking point there. I don't know.
There's got to be a line. You know, there's going to be a line at a certain point where Jungle Boy's like, I don't feel comfortable crossing this one. And Christian would be like, no, do it. Do it.
Prime Joy Bearding here in chat mentions also the bit where the trash can, Matt using the bottom part of the trash can to break up a pin, which looked
that was great.
Absolutely brutal. That trash can just got done.
Not a single use trash can AEW.
Multi-use for sure. That's a trope I'm cool with.
Yeah. So finish this Christian. So there's a bunch of crazy stuff that happens. I believe it's Matt that's on the stage. Christian has set up for a concerto on him, and Jungle Boy comes behind. Pretty much taps Christian on the shoulder and it's like, all right, let me do it. After teasing it before and being hesitant about it, blasts Matt in the head with a chair, covers him to get the pin.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Fun stuff.
He said, here, I'll take that chair. Sure.
I'll do that.
Please, Dad, let me do this.
Next, this match was confusing. Cody.
The problem was they I think this was supposed to be taped for Rampage, but they accidentally ran it live. This was
like this. The story was confusing because
so confusing.
Like, why are Andrade and Malachi having a can they coexist storyline when they've been aligned, seemingly on the same page for weeks now?
Right.
And if they have common enemies in Cody and Pac, like, why are they the ones who bicker to begin? Like, I understand to a certain point where Cody and Pac might not be on the same page because, you know, I would understand why they would have a little more trouble working because they have no prior relationship to this. We've seen Malachi and Andrade have a relationship prior to this, yet from almost the very beginning, they're irritated when they tag each other in and out. It just didn't make any sense.
I don't even know why they're together. Like,
And that's another problem.
Malachi hasn't even said, like, he mentioned somebody, he was alluding to somebody turning on Cody. Andrade was never. I mean, it's a dude who Cody didn't like in the first place.
Yeah,
I don't know why. And the entire thing, the whole match. Granted, I understand the finish was not Cody centric, but the rest of the match was so Cody centric. They did the thing again, dude, where
like the ladder match. Yeah,
he got injured and had to like remove himself from the match. The camera never stopped being. Cody was in frame the entire time. They're trying to focus on the action, but in the corner there, you see what Cody's doing, which I know. Like, he is in the match, but like, how many other matches, if somebody goes down, the action just continues. You don't see them, and then they just show up again. He's like obsessed with having the camera on him at all times.
I know. So the spot was Malachi hits him with the black mass after Pac had already tagged himself in. So Cody tumbles to the ropes. Match continues with Malachi and Pac. Cody rolls to the floor, and yeah, I won't say every shot, but most shots. You see Cody linger in the background. For some reason, the doctor comes and checks on him.
Right?
You know, and it's a huge story beat when he finally pulls himself back up on the apron, showered with boos by the crowd there in Minneapolis. When that happens, he gets the hot tag from Pac, and more boos rain down. He goes on an extended run. Again, it's is Cody really self-aware about things to the degree that he knows that focusing on that is going to get some sort of heat on him, or is it him just stroking his ego and thinking that's an important, that's such like him getting back on that corner and get that hot tag is such an important story beat that it must be endlessly focused on until that moment happens. I just don't know.
I think he totally knows. I think here's the thing. I honest to goodness think that he loves the idea of, I'm not going to do the heel thing. I'm not going to do, like he said in his whole promo, I'm not going to do the pedigree and this, that, and the other. I'm going to do everything else to piss people off and act like I think I'm a good. I honestly think the man is self-aware. I really do. I think he's doing this to get maybe the reaction that we're giving right now. And then it's all going to play out somehow. Or even if it doesn't, if he has no master plan for it, he still understands I'm getting the damn reactions.
That would be, to an extent, more confusing to me if this is just like a kind of an idea he has without a payoff. So it's going to be this type of stuff in perpetuity where he's getting kind of booed. And I just feel like if this is the thing, it needs to pay off in some respect other than just 5 years of every one of his matches, tag matches, ladder matches, whatever the case may be, being so endlessly focused on every little thing he does, almost to, and in some cases, way past overshadowing everything else that's going on in the match. There's got to be some sort of payoff, because without a payoff, it's just like, okay, it makes me feel like he's just not aware of how this could be perceived.
I think
without a payoff.
I think he's aware. We're just not into it. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. I feel like Pac and Andrade and Malachi really are worth so much more than being dragged into whatever this thing is Cody's doing. This attempt to maintain his relevancy by being oddly meta about things. Oh, I'm not going to turn. I'm not going to do the pedigree. I could do that. But I'm not doing that, which is like the most meta thing. You know, oh, I'm not going to have an attitude adjustment. Like that's just a switch that people turn, right? But he understands that in wrestling, that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And so instead, he drags all this great talent into his bullshit. And he's like, oh, well, this is the story that I want to tell. You know, this weird meta, I'm self-aware. I know that I'm doing this, but it's pissing people off, but kind of not in a good way.
Yeah. And I think that's to an extent where the lack of self-awareness is. Like, I don't doubt that he's not self-aware about how he's booking himself.
He doesn't understand that this is the reaction that he probably shouldn't be getting.
Yeah.
Which in its own way,
he should be self-aware enough to know that it shouldn't be Cody and all these other immensely talented people orbiting around him to advance his own story, which may or may not have a payoff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, Pac ends up picking up the win, pinning Andrade after a Black Arrow. Just a weird match. It could have been on Rampage or Dynamite easily.
It should have been, because it was just a story beat. It was basically a minor story beat. This should not have been on pay-per-view. After that, we had Ty Conti versus Britt Baker. Really good match between these two. I mean, kind of my main problem with it was, it was completely not without. I thought that Ty hitting her, like, I think 2 of her finishes, like the DDT is her main finish these days.
Yeah. And Ty KO is kind of like her signature.
And Ty KO and Britt kicking out of the DDT. I don't know about that. I think honestly, this match just sort of made Britt look really good. Like she escaped with the win, and it made Ty look fine. Like she kicked out of, she was like a stomp on the steel steps, a stomp inside, and then she kicked out of that. But it just sort of made Britt look really, really good.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned this on the stream, all the really good talent, I'm sorry, that's messed up to say. Ty is a really good talent. But all the contenders that I think could take that title off Britt, they're all in the tournament right now. And so it's like Ty sort of left. And then it's like, well, I know she's not going to win this thing. It was a great showcase for her. Awesome for her to have a pay-per-view moment.
Yeah.
So all that's really good stuff. And it was a really fantastic match.
It was good.
The crowd wasn't into it because they had, I don't know, they just weren't into it. Maybe for the same reason. I mean, I don't know. That match before this was definitely a cool-down match. The Cody match was a cool-down match. It's not like they were into that either.
No.
So,
I don't know. I
don't know. I just think that this match just sort of existed, but there was never the thought that, Ty might win this. They just looked. I was looking specifically. Let me just say this one last thing. I was specifically looking at the crowd because I watched this again this morning to actually take the notes on it. Mm-hmm. The DDT, the crowd just looked confused. Like, wait, that's her finish.
Yeah.
Is she going to win this now? That's weird. And then when Britt kicked out, they're like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. It was just sort of like, well, Ty's not going to win this thing. So why are they having Britt kick out her finish?
Yeah, no, I get that. There's when the outcome seems so certain, there's an element of drama potentially missing, especially in a story that hasn't been built over a good stretch of time. Like I had very little doubt that Hangman was going to win the title from Kenny.
Sure.
But you're getting the payoff of a 2.5-year story.
Oh, yeah.
So even if the outcome's completely predictable, you're rewarded because you stuck around, you invest in that story. Now you get to see the outcome that you want. That's satisfying.
You want to see how that story is told.
Exactly. And without them really, like Thunder Rosa is Britt's rival.
Of course.
And she's in the TBS tournament. Like that's the one story they could go back to for Britt. That's years in the making, months in the making. Without that, it's one of the potential issues with or one of several issues with how they've booked the women's division is there's not, to the same degree they probably have in the men's division, a wealth of long-term story options they could employ when telling stories like this.
I thought, I'll be honest with you, like I know they just had. They had a match already, but if you had continued the Ruby feud and maybe put this in a steel cage to keep outside interference from happening, I would have actually been like, oh, I think Britt's going to win this, but this is their second match and it's in a steel cage. Maybe not. There would have been a little bit more doubt, quite a bit more doubt if they had done Ruby again. I think for a lot of people have been like, whoa, are they going to do this? Are they going to actually have this title switch? Because I don't think the title switch is going to happen for a long time.
Yeah,
and it's probably going to be Thunder Rosa. But yeah, if it was like Ruby, I think that would have been the perfect pay-per-view level steel cage. another killer match like she's had with Thunder Rosa, where it's in doubt. It's like, oh my God, is she going to win this thing? I think that probably would have been the way to go, because I honestly think they should have had Ruby in a series with Britt as opposed to moving on so immediately. But it was what it was. Like I said, for Ty Conti, a great showcase for her. The best match that I've seen out of her. I thought it was really, really good. And in fact, the end saw Ty in control, peppering Britt. So she hits the DDT. She had a great moonsault earlier to the outside, which was terrifying. I already mentioned the stomps on the steel steps and inside. Ty was trying to work Britt's hand because of the lockjaw. Britt had already kicked out of a Ty KO. And then Ty has sort of wrist control on Britt. She's sort of very arrogantly giving her some kicks, the way Britt, was arrogant early in this match. Picks her up, tries to go for another DDT. Britt's able to float it over for a lockjaw. Ty rolls through that for a pin, but then Britt's able to counter that with another roll-up, and she gets the pin on that for 3. So she didn't get the lockjaw in, so that does sort of protect Ty a little bit, even though Britt had kicked out of her finish. I mean, I know people kick out of finishes all the time, but I was a little bit surprised that they had Britt do that.
Yeah, you'd think if Ty wasn't going to win, the least they could do is protect her finish a little bit,
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, it was a really good showing for Ty Conti. It's impressive to see her hard work pay off and see her improve and be rewarded for all that with a main event title, or not main event, sorry, a pay-per-view title shot. So happy for Ty.
Yeah, absolutely.
After that, he had Eddie Kingston versus CM Punk. Eddie came out, looked like he had just walked 38 miles. He was in a bad mood.
And CM Punk, what did you think of CM shorts?
I thought they looked great.
I thought they looked so comfy, didn't they?
They look super comfy. I'm expecting them to be on AEW Shop or Shop AEW, whatever the URL is, anytime soon, because I might procure myself a pair because they look super comfy.
They look really comfy. I appreciate that they were shorts as well, because it's sort of a throw to his MMA stuff, which if you're doing MMA, what do you need a lot of? Stamina. You have to be in great cardiovascular shape.
And I was wondering, too, if that was the best reference he can get to John Cena's ring gear, because Punk walking out there in jorts
would have been too on the nose.
Yes.
Because this match was chock full of Cena references.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that would have been awesome. That would have been great if it was CM jorts.
Or cargo shorts.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been good. Little on the nose. But yeah, I did love the Cena references. And I love that they just allowed the crowd to take the reins basically towards the end when they were booing Punk, and he milked it by instead of going for that second GTS, he milks them and continues to lay that MMA shit in, the elbows and stuff. And Eddie's huffing and puffing. Yeah. So the start of this was great. So, of course, they both come out there. They're just jawing at each other and jawing at each other. The ref backs up Eddie. Punk comes towards Eddie. Eddie's like pushing the ref away. The ref turns towards Punk, and Eddie saunters up there and hits him with his finish.
I know. That was so
Before
great.
the match starts, he lays him out.
Was great.
And I love the camera work. They get right into Eddie's face, and he's got that really just villainous look on his face, like, fuck you. But the crowd loves that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, and Punk just laid there like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
Awesome way to, and the crowd was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
If he only had done that right when the bell rang, and got, like, how awesome would that have been if that first loss for Punk would have been just the back fist right after the bell, and Kingston pins him.
I know. Again, but it goes back to what Eddie said. I don't care about beating you. I just want to beat you up.
Yeah, exactly. And Punk got bloody early. He had that awesome crimson mask. There was tons of pictures. I think he took pictures afterwards where he just looked like $1 million with all that blood. Yeah, tons of Cena references in this. Punk. So 5 minutes in, and Eddie is gassed. He's already gassed because they're just going, the adrenaline is all just rushing, and he's gassed. And that's the story of this match. Punk, so Eddie's laying there. Punk gives him, basically, you can't see me, but with the middle finger. Eddie gives it back to him. The whole thing relays, stands over him and does it.
The 5-knuckle shuffle deal.
Yeah. He pummels.
He did the whole setup with the shoulder tackles and the belly to back and all that. Yeah.
He did the 5. People in chat were pointing out he's doing the 5 moves of doom. That's what he's doing. I wish that he had done the lightning fist. So the crowd at first torn between the two of them, chanting both names, but eventually they were just firmly chanting for Eddie. Punk gives him the 3 amigos, does the chest strut. Eddie meets him up at the top, just tries to pummel him, but they're both just gassed. He recovers, hits a superplex on Punk. They get up, trade blows. Eddie's able to drop him with an enziguri. Eddie looks to it. He does the go to sleep thing and then does the most vile Jagoff move, hand sign. And then let's see here. Yeah. And then Punk gets up, hits his own GTS. Eddie goes straight into the ropes, and we're at the 8-minute mark at this point. Eddie throws his back fist, but he's so just running on fumes right now. He misses that. Punk throws some elbows at him, looks at the crowd. The crowd boos the shit out of Punk. Punk starts laughing. He gives him more knees, hits the GTS, and wins at exactly 10 minutes.
Yeah, he hit a ton of knees towards the end.
He did. Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah.
So after the match, Punk, satisfied with his win, he offers his hand to Eddie. Eddie just walks out.
And he just has a shitty look on his face.
I know. It's the most condescending.
It is. And Eddie's like shoving the camera guy away to get out of there. That was good. I pray this is the start of a series. Eddie's got to be the first guy to give Punk a loss, right?
I don't know, because AEW very rarely they do the protracted 3-month feud between the same two people. Usually it's a little short thing.
True.
And then if they revisit it down the line, well, we got all this to reference now,
Yeah.
We're so used to WWE saying, all right, you two are going to feud for 3 months, usually with no real end game.
Mm-hmm.
That AEW typically doesn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
true.
times they have, but for example, the Men of the Year and America Top Team versus Inner Circle have seemingly been feuding for 9 years at this junction.
Oh, boy. So, glad you mentioned that match. That was up next. America Top Team versus Inner Circle. I don't care about this feud. I didn't care about this match. I know people worked hard on it. Sammy Guevara hit a pretty gnarly elbow drop onto a table onto Sky. Baron Von Raschke was ringside. He hit the Iron Claw on All Ego Ethan Page. And then with a shout out to Eddie Guerrero, his friend, Jericho got a frog splash on Dan Lambert for the win.
Yeah. And let's assume that this is the end of America Top Team in AEW.
I hope.
It feels like that's probably the case.
Should be.
What has this really done for Men of the Year?
Unfortunately, nothing. We were pointing, I think Kayla pointed out in the stream, this really should have been Santana Ortiz versus Men of the Year. You know, I mean, Jericho can be ringside. I don't know what you do with this, but you don't do this. I just don't. I'm not into it. I mean, I'm sure that there's probably people out there who are all about this. Doesn't appeal to me. Not into it. So yeah, I don't know. I like Men of the Year. I hope they get away from America Top Team. They really need to.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, really, I say this all the time. I don't like sounding like a broken record, but as soon as the bell rang, it should have been Arlovsky and Junior Dos Santos pummeling every member of Inner Circle.
Right. Like the team MMA stuff that we've seen.
Yeah.
Except this is like a 2-on-5 situation.
Virtually. I mean, I know both Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are decorated mixed martial artists in their own right, but you got Arlovsky and Junior Dos Santos in there. It boggles my mind why that match would last more than 90 seconds with American Top Team firmly coming out the winners.
Yeah.
I don't care that a toaster is introduced.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you really want me to feel like this is in any way believable, then this should have been a squash match.
I kind of want Miro to come out and just wreck Sammy again. I know Miro's not going to get that title again because his story is totally not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But Sammy's the weakest link in the TNT title lineage at this point. That was a dumb move getting that title off him. Maybe Miro needed some time off. I don't know, because I know that he was supposed to be taking some time off, and maybe he needed that. Maybe they thought that, hey, this would be more interesting for him to visit being mad at God and losing the title. Maybe that would just be more interesting. But then put it on somebody who put it on a Man of the Year. Put it on Sky or Page. Put
it on Eddie Kingston.
Oh my God, put it on Eddie Kingston. Absolutely. Any number of people. But yeah, Sammy, that's a waste of that title.
They just haven't really done much with him as champion.
No, they haven't, because they did this right before they did the American Top Team.
I know. It seemed like they put the title on him to motivate the match with Paige to determine who was going to be in this 10-man tag match.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Where it's like, hey, we'll have this TNT title match with Paige, and you have a title match. Paige gets title opportunity. It fits this larger story. But I don't really think you should be using your titles to feed into a larger story that doesn't directly involve that title. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, earlier on in this feud, I was like, hey, it's a good platform for Men of the Year. Now that it's seemingly done with, I don't see it. I don't see that this could have helped them at all. I really don't. Not given that they have so much talent between them. They didn't need Dan Lambert talking.
Mm-hmm.
After that, Tony Schiavone introduces AEW's latest signee, Jay Lethal.
Yeah.
So he's in AEW now, and he challenged Sammy Guevara for a TNT title match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see what happens after, I think it's Final Battle is that last Ring of Honor thing.
Yeah.
Gresham. I'm really looking forward to seeing, hopefully, in AEW, Brody King.
Yes.
A lot of great talent over there that I am interested in seeing in AEW.
Definitely. Most definitely. It would be great to see Brody King and Malachi Black join forces. They're current PWG tag champions. See them be a team in AEW as well would be awesome.
Yeah. Man, how much did you love that opening video for Hangman Adam Page?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. Didn't watch it. I was fast.
Oh no, really?
Because I was trying to watch the match.
Okay, fair enough. I know.
We started.
I know.
Skim through till the match began.
I know. It was awesome. It was like a really high quality drone thing going through the streets of, I guess, Minneapolis, just outside the arena.
Target Center.
Thanks. And like they sort of go and it sort of floats near like I guess a sort of a connective tunnel, like that you could see what's going on in there. You see the Dark Order running towards like the arena, and then the drone sort of goes back and then it goes down, and Hangman is on his horse in the street. It's like empty streets, cool. And there's like tumbleweed floating by in the middle of the city. And up on the billboard is like a shot of him at that first press conference when he says, "I'm going to be AEW World Champion," and all of his trials and tribulations. And then they hit his music, and he comes out, and he kneels by the ring post. Crowd soaks it in. Kenny comes out. Hangman draped in gold. Kenny draped in silver. And still looking like $1 million though, along with the Tron on the LED on the floor. You know, he looked like the future. It was great. It was really, really great entrance.
It was really good. It was really great. And this match had a lot of great back and forth, and I really loved every time there was protracted stretches where Kenny seemed like he had this match well in hand. Yeah. He'd always leave a little window open though for Paige to make a comeback. Sorry, distracted. So at one point, Don Callis is ringside and he's getting involved. He's grabbing Paige's feet, when he's outside hitting with cheap shots, that kind of stuff. So eventually we have a ref bump when Hangman is going for a buckshot, and Kenny pulls the ref in front of him. So we got a ref bump. Callis gets in the ring with the title. Paige turns around, sees that Callis is there. Callis tries to leave. Paige pulls him back in the ring, hits him. This allows Kenny to come to. He gets to the title, swings at Paige. Paige ducks, hits Kenny with the dead eye. No ref, though. We had a ref bump. So Aubrey Edwards comes sprinting down to the ring.
Sprinting down.
Gets in the ring, counts the pin. Kenny kicks out. So Kenny is pummeling Paige with a bunch of strikes. Goes for a V trigger. Hangman catches that, hits a bunch of strikes of his own. Kenny responds with a V trigger, goes for another. Instead, he eats a clothesline. But then Kenny does hit a V trigger. So then they're kind of propping each other up. Great reference to after they lost the tag team titles. Yeah. Thought that was great. So Kenny is hitting some quad kicks. And Paige gets in Kenny's face and calls him a motherfucker.
Yeah. That was awesome.
So Kenny hits him with some more kicks. And Paige just gets up and destroys him with the clothesline. So this brings the Young Bucks. They're limping down to ringside. Kenny hits Paige with a Saito suplex. Paige gets right back up. Hits Kenny with one of his own. They're dropping each other on their neck.
Spikes each other on their heads is gnarly.
Yeah. So Paige is looking for a buckshot. He jumps over the ropes. Kenny hits him with a V trigger. He's looking for a one-winged angel. Page escapes that. Instead, hits a one-winged angel of his own. Kenny kicks out.
Mm-hmm.
So Page is on the apron, setting up for a buckshot. And he kind of looks over the Young Bucks who they're over towards the corner. He hits a buckshot and goes to Kenny's back, goes to the opposite end of the ring, sets up for another. Young Bucks make their way over, and they have this great shot of Matt Jackson just looking at Page, just kind of nodding his head like this. Not a huge thing. Just, all right, this is going to happen, and I have to accept that at this point.
Go ahead and have at it, yeah.
Yep. And so he hits the second buckshot to get the win, and afterwards, Page rolls over Kenny, and they're talking to each other. Mm-hmm. Don't know what's being said. They're talking to each other.
Hangman in the presser wouldn't say. Somebody did ask him, and he says, "I'm not going to divulge that."
Yeah.
Somebody also had, and I apologize for not knowing who this was, but I did see the picture floating around. It was like, I guess, from a camera test. All the lights were out, but you could see Hangman and Kenny sitting on the apron hours before their match, talking it over, or I'll be talking about something.
Yeah.
Probably the match, but yeah, the little things like that just give me chills because Kenny, everybody in AEW has done everything they possibly could to get this guy who clearly deserves it, who clearly has star power to that level, and it's been a beautiful story. It's
been a great journey. It's been an awesome journey. So Dark Order.
Kevin Conroe here says, rumor has it that picture was from last year. Okay, I just saw it on Twitter and I assumed what it was, but yeah, maybe that was old, but still. I like them talking.
Yeah. So Dark Order come out to the stage. Page weighs him down the ring. Alex Reynolds offers Hangman a beer. Page tosses it aside. They all embrace. They hoist him up on his shoulders in celebration as the show goes off the air.
Yeah, just an absolutely amazing moment. Just really, really good stuff.
Yeah, stellar match. Stellar.
So we can go ahead and I did put up a question thread.
Okay.
So we should have plenty of those. I mean, we went, I think Enforcer and I went an hour and 40 minutes the other day, so we can go a little bit long here. This is a podcast. Sure. We can go long on a podcast.
Of course, that's the nature of podcasts.
Exactly. We're allowed to go long.
Mr. Triplemania asks, which do you want to see first and which do you think will happen first? Miro versus Ishii or Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson?
Oh, for me, the one that I'd like to see first is Zack Sabre Jr. versus Bryan Danielson.
1,000%.
I think the odds would just sort of suggest that maybe Miro versus Ishii, because it's not as high profile a match, could potentially be first, but I mean, it's sort of a toss up as to what they actually do.
Mm-hmm. B-Man, Rick Sparks, how would you book Kota Ibushi coming to AEW to confront Kenny now that he lost his title? I'd actually would be interested to see if it was the other way around. Kenny goes to New Japan with no belts and saying, to get back to the top, I have to beat you because I've never done that.
So January 4th is going to be Okada versus Shingo.
Okay.
January 5th looks like it's going to be Ospreay versus Okada. But I don't know if that means it's going to be Ospreay versus the winner, because Ospreay confronted Okada at the San Jose show.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that means Okada is going to beat Shingo night one, which means, didn't he also want? Wouldn't that mean you'd get Okada versus Kota Ibushi night 3?
Jeez.
Right?
That's crazy. That's assuming Kota Ibushi recovers from his injury.
Yeah, it's cleared by then. That's why I wonder if they're sort of pushing any announcement for night 3 until they know about that. But I mean, I don't know of a 3-night run of matches that could equal what Okada's doing there.
I mean, it's 4th, 5th, and 7th, right? Or 8th. They're not 3 consecutive.
Oh, it's not consecutive. Okay. Okay.
But still, that's a rough 3 matches in a row potentially.
Because he said he wants he's treating he doesn't have the briefcase. He's got the old title. And so it's going to be champion versus champion, and then Ospreay still saying that he's champion. So then it's going to be champion versus champion.
Yeah. So a couple people are here in chat are saying that New Japan saying it's winner faces Ospreay.
Okay, but that's going to be Okada.
I kind of feel like that was the original plan for Wrestle Kingdom anyway. It was Okada versus Ospreay.
Yeah, you're probably right. But Okada has mentioned Kota Ibushi. So I imagine the 3rd night, if he's cleared, like you said, It's going to be that, but what a crazy series of matches, right? You're
would be
starting the
nuts.
year with 3 potential Match of the Year candidates.
I know. Jason Lewis, power rank Disneyland locales for Falls Count Anywhere match.
Oh, yeah. There you go. It's all on you.
Well, Frontierland's got to be first and foremost.
Okay.
It's Wild West theme.
The Wild West. There you go.
No law in Deadwood.
No law. Let me ask you this. A question here from MF Steve here.
Yes.
Hangman did not kick out of the One-Winged Angel. Yay or nay?
Yes.
You like that?
I didn't. It would have been a cool moment, and it could have enhanced the story they were telling with the match.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's something they want to save for down the line, or maybe that's something they don't even want to do. I don't know.
I like it. I think it could have enhanced the match, but I think the match was great the way it was.
Oh yeah, totally.
Let's see here. Ford Age asks, where does the Superkliq and the Elite go from here? And does it include Kyle O'Reilly and Steen?
Well, I think we saw with Matt's nod to Paige that the Young Bucks realized Kenny is the past, and probably Adam Cole is the future.
Adam Cole's the future, man. Absolutely.
So we're going to see the relationship between the Young Bucks and Kenny start to break down. When's the last time? Like the Young Bucks used to join Kenny ringside all the time.
Yeah.
Now basically they're just hanging out with Adam Cole all the time.
Yeah.
During their that 8-man tag match, the 4 of them versus the Dark Order that was on the Halloween Dynamite. Kenny looks to tag in Adam Cole, instead tags in one of the Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
There's little subtle hints that relationship is not that great.
Mm-hmm.
I anticipate that being the focus more.
Yeah. Greg Morris asks, could Eddie Kingston be the one who dethrones MJF when he eventually gets the title? I think it's possible. I think that's sort of too early to even sort of
too early to tell.
concern.
If we're talking the main AEW title, there's a lot of people.
Okay, so another thing in the media scrum that Tony Khan did say is that from the beginning he knew who his first 4 were going to be.
Oh, okay.
So he knew that it was going to go in that order, which makes total sense. I think we even called that pretty early on.
Yeah.
After Hangman, I don't know if he spoke on, and I don't know if he would have spoke on, if he has a secondary, like a second 4 lined up. I would think with the changing landscape, he would probably have to keep his options open. I mean, it's entirely possible that Steen could come in. That's a potential name right there. Cole, Steen, Danielson.
But it seems pretty obvious they're building up MJF to be champ in the near future, within the next 3 years.
I really wonder. I mean, Hangman, MJF. I think it. My personal thought, my next 4 right now feels like after Hangman, it would be Cole, Danielson,
Punk, MJF.
Punk and MJF maybe.
It's entirely possible.
Or MJF and Punk. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if clearly he's got the names, I think Danielson and Cole are the 2 guys who I think like they're going to need. They're not going to need, but like it makes so much sense for them to get their hands on the title.
Yeah.
Punk, maybe not. I don't think so with Punk.
I don't think. I mean, I would guess probably not a priority for him.
Yeah.
White Brownie, with Tony hinting more top New Japan talent showing up, could you see them surpassing Raw on both viewers and demo by the end of the year? Not by the end of the year. No. It's going to take several years for that to even become a possibility.
I agree.
It's cool. Ishii's going to be Orange Cassidy's tag partner on Dynamite. He alluded to that at Full Gear. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point we'll see Okada on Dynamite. I think that'd be spectacular.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ishii's what is he doing? Teaming up with Orange Cassidy this week on Dynamite?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Anthony J. I don't know if you've kept up with this. I know you've been busy last week or so. Is this Becky Charlotte thing more of a work? Because when quoted by saying you don't trust someone in the ring makes the possibility of their match breaking out into a shoot more likely than just being a normal match. I firmly believe that Becky, anything she says in regards to Charlotte in interviews with Sports Illustrated or whoever else, it's all work. I think that it's probable that her and Charlotte do have some sort of conflict backstage, but I do not believe for a second that Becky wouldn't trust Charlotte in the ring. I don't think that for a second. I think that they're doing that to build the match.
Yeah, entirely possible. Entirely possible. Nick, my hero, do you think AEW would eventually have a Hall of Fame? If they did, who would be the first inducted? Brody.
Yeah. Let's see here. NJWP, is the Forbidden Door now a selling point to wrestling companies that use it? Danielson could have a run with the AEW title till the middle of next year, then do the G1. Yeah, I think so. I think it's probably exciting for all those companies.
I mean, Danielson, one of the things he wanted was opportunities to work elsewhere, and he said that WWE apparently was going to give that to him.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that is going to be a huge selling point in the future.
Mm-hmm. For both wrestling companies and wrestlers.
Totally.
I absolutely think that. Let's see here. Yeah, just for context, earlier when you mentioned the bit between Hangman and the Bucks, what happened was on Rampage, he just sort of came up to them, and Cole was there, and Cole got right in his face, and they were like, "Hey, Adam, it's fine. You know, we'll deal with this." So a little teasing there, and then and he says, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry." It was a really great moment. He apologized to them. He says, "I ruined our friendship, and I apologize for that. You got your pound of flesh by messing with my title match, you know, whenever months ago. I helped, you know, make sure you guys didn't get your tag titles back. We're even. If you mess with me during our match, I will ruin you."
Yeah.
And that's led to what we saw.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, I'm just trying to do something. Who in AEW would make a great two-man power trip?
Oh, wow. It's got to be MJF and somebody.
MJF. Somebody, so they would have to hold the world title, the TNT title, and the tag titles.
Oh. Some good options here in chat. MJF and Cole, MJF and Cody.
MJF and Cody. That's good. Ooh, Punk and Bryan. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I like that. Yeah, somebody also mentions on Being the Elite, they did show like the immediate behind the scenes aftermath of you know, basically Kenny just left and and Hangman came and everybody was there. You know, everybody came up and gave him hugs, and Danielson comes up and he looked so like, I don't know if he was trying to stay in character a little bit, but he was just like, "Hey man, congratulations, you did good." Kind of like, oh, this is cute, you know, like it's kind of beneath him. But then there was a big blurry spot, and I was like, "Who's that?" Somebody in chat here. I apologize. They said it earlier. It was Don Callis. There to congratulate Hangman. I love that. I thought that was good.
That's funny. Yeah, can't be breaking kayfabe like that, brother.
No, man. Let's see here. Nikyle asks, if you had to choose one of these wrestling match stips to bring back, which one would it be and why? The Punjabi Prison, King of the Road match, the Gulf of Mexico match. Apparently you throw your opponent into the sea.
Oh, wow.
And then the glass and flaming barbed wire fire coffin cremation death match. That might have been that gimmick we saw at the FMW one.
Give me the one where you throw people into the water.
I like the one where you have a briefcase that might say you're fired.
Gosh.
Feast or fired. Let's see here. Joey Black Fox says, I was so sure that Orange Cassidy would have been considered one of the 4 pillars of AEW, considering the spotlight they put on him. Do you find it weird they left him out? He is super old. He's like 37 or something. Mm-hmm. Super old compared to the other pillars who are like in their 20s.
The pillars are all in their 20s.
Yeah. So there. Oh, and there is actually an interaction here where Blake mentions that he's 37, and Joey Black Fox says, "Oh, wow, I didn't know he's 37." There you go. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Twitch chat, stick around. We'll answer some more of your questions. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow for our Monday Night Raw review. I'm sure to live up to this AEW Full Gear show.
Can't
Larson.
wait. Thrilled to watch. Can't watch 3 hours of Raw tonight.
Just got off a plane. Now you get to watch Raw.
Oh, wow.
Lucky you.
Maybe I'd rather walk another 38 miles instead.
Hey, let's do an improv Raw preview. What's even happening on Raw?
They're probably still writing it. I don't know.
Will they finish the show? Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.